fast food goes, they're probably like the better. But you just get tired of chicken.
Yeah, I don't. Chicken's a vehicle for what you put on it, in
Yeah.
my humble opinion.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Mm. Well, it says live on YouTube.
Yeah, we're going. Fast food goes,
Oh,
like there we go. Well, I don't need to hear it again.
fast food goes are probably like the better.
But let's see. How do we turn the sound off of that bad boy? There we go. All right. Says we are, but it's kind of taking its sweet little ass time. Good old editing. All right, so we're going with Dukes of Blather. Is that what we want to do?
Do you like that?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like anything that's a take like that on a spin. I love 2 minutes to late night. I swear to God,
That's so good.
if I could
So
get
good.
that, I would.
That's why I was going. That's why I was
kill
going so
for it.
hard at Live After Death. I just could not. There's not a lot of words that rhyme with death, weirdly enough, that are applicable.
Except for meth.
Meth, yeah. Live After Meth, which would be a very interesting show if we smoked meth and then did it.
And
Just out
survive.
just digging a hole in the yard and filming it. Dig a 10-foot hole in 45 minutes.
All right, let's see here.
Take 4 dumps.
I wonder if I should record this. It says we're live, but it doesn't look live. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start this show. We're going to go back and edit all this out, but I'm going to start the show with an ad. Because I don't know when we'll get time to get back to an ad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of podcasts, and start that way with the ads, and then
drive everybody crazy.
Yeah. Brought to you by. That's how the Grand Ole Opry did it too. Although I think they took breaks to advertise cornmeal.
All right. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Do you have any idea what we're going to do?
I know I'm going to bitch about Vince McMahon, and that's it.
All right, cool. That should be a good 15-minute show.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to mark it at 11:06. Just for edit. I can do it before 11:06 happens. Actually, let me see. All right. And now 11:06 is taking forever. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dukes of Blather. I'm Sam. That's Wick. Tonight's show is brought to you by Invictus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. They offer hope to patients with major depressive disorders, postpartum depression, bipolar depression, OCD, PTSD, and severe anxiety. Severe depression takes a huge toll on your everyday life. Ketamine therapy offers a chance to find hope again. Many patients have numerous oral medications, but have found little to no relief, as well as difficult to tolerate side effects. Ketamine treatment is highly effective and it's safe. It's time for you to get off harmful medications and start living life again. If you're in pain, get help from the Invictus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. Get more information on it and see if this treatment's right for you at 770-850-1042 or visit the website www.theinviticusclinic.com. Welcome, everybody. Wick, how's it going? How are you, sir?
I'm damn decent. How are you, sir?
I am damn decent myself. Now, this is just two really blathering idiots, isn't it? We're just kind of doing our thing and talking about whatever we want to talk about. That's how we roll. This is what we enjoy. We have a ton of different things that we like to talk about and have interest in. And we just decided, hey, you know what? This might be fun to share it with the world and have a lot of people either hate us or some people love us. And that's where we are right now. So
hopefully have all the right people love us and all the wrong people hate us.
It's social media now. You're gonna get the hate. You know, it's social media now. You can't do anything without somebody proving you wrong or trying to feel like they're more important than you are. It's very much a playground of society in a nutshell. Sadly, because there's a lot of good stuff out there in social media, but you just got to expect that you're going to get the bad, right?
The trolls
will happen. And I troll too. I mean, it makes me feel good. I always talk badly about people because it makes me feel better about myself. But I'm one of the few people that will honestly tell you that.
I think most people do. I think people do that. I think everybody feels that way. I just think nobody cops to it.
Yeah, well, you know, that's me. I will talk badly about people to make myself feel better. It's an ego boost for me. So rip me away on the comments. I can assure you I won't read them. I will, and I'll probably cry, but I'm very resilient.
Sensitive but resilient.
Sensitive but resilient. We don't start this show with any kind of idea of what we're going to do. It's just two dudes that are laying it down. We're in our 40s. We've known each other for a couple of years, for a long time, actually.
Yeah, and we just didn't know each other in that time, but we knew of each other.
And then
we have not been, this needs to be said because it has not been said. We have not been in each other's presence in about a quarter of a century.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's really strange. It's a very 2020 dynamic.
It really is. We are like the, what do they call that? Dating app. We're kind of like the what's it called? We swipe.
The swipey dating app.
The swipey dating app. That's we are the show host of swipey dating apps. That's what we are.
Yeah,
what happened?
I'm not entirely sure you exist. You could be a figment of my imagination.
I'm completely holographic. I can promise you that. I wish. Man, I'm telling you, I have gained so much weight. And in my mind, let me tell people who aren't fat. You know you're fat. You know you got to do something about it. It's just the freaking effort to get it done, the commitment, the, eating things that you have to like almost prepare or plan out.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. And I'm 44. I work in an office. I've got 2 kids. We're at home a lot. We're eating convenient. We just had Thanksgiving, and then it spirals out of control. Like, especially the holidays start coming. And I'm like, my kid had his 8th birthday Saturday. And so you snack, you eat and snack. And then whatever's left over, we got a cookie cake. Got to eat the cookie cake because you throw it away. That's just horrible because you spend
they're expensive as hell.
They're expensive as hell. I went through hell to get the cake because it was in a mall and it was just, I don't know why we even did that. So, you're like, give it away. And of course my parents don't want it and her parents didn't want it. And I'm like, I guess we're stuck with this cookie cake. Of course it's gone.
I have the same crisis every year. When for both the girls' birthdays, there's usually a cookie cake and it sits there taunting me. Yeah. Now, I can't indulge in sugar because of my Lyme disease, but it's my willpower and my knowledge of that disease is no match for my want of the cake.
Lyme disease is a weird disease.
It's weird as hell,
You can't have sugar. I
but I
know a
do.
guy who
I
couldn't have red
shouldn't.
meat.
It does manifest itself that way too. Thank
He was
God
like,
it doesn't for me.
dude, I can't eat steak. I think he could eat chicken. He couldn't eat red meat.
Ugh.
He was like, I can't even have it touch it or I'll get sick. And I'm like, that is just like a personal hell, man. You might as well just go vegetarian at that point.
I've thought about it. It's too hard though. It's too difficult. It takes, like you were saying, it takes too much planning, too much. People that do it, I have all the admiration in the world
You mean
for
being
that.
vegetarian?
Yeah, because of the discipline that takes.
It takes discipline. It's just, I don't understand that life decision. I mean,
I can see
listen.
Clinton went vegetarian after the heart attack. I can see that.
Oh yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
have something happen and you feel like you got to do it. I get it.
Mhm.
I just, and maybe you don't like meat and I guess I understand, feeling responsible for where your food comes from and all that. But like, there's so much joy in a meal. There's so much joy in knowing what you're going to eat. You're going out with friends or whatever.
Not always in the aftermath of the meal, though.
You're going to an Applebee's. What are you going to eat? You know what I mean? Like it's a joy. I'm going to Applebee's. I'm going to Chili's.
Right.
This is an exciting moment. Me and my wife get very little time off or away from the house. We get a date night. It's a movie.
And you go to Chili's?
And we go to Chili's.
You go to Chili's.
And
what do you have at Chili's?
The fajitas.
You have the fajitas.
Yeah.
And this brings you joy.
Yeah,
and
of
contentment.
Course.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It brings me a crap load of joy. Like I'm about to eat like a king. I love it. And I'll get all I'm like, what appetizers do you want?
You get the jalapeno poppers.
I tell her, I say anything under $10, it's yours. And I can't imagine not having the joy of just going out to dinner. Because you're really that person. I mean, if you're not going to a vegetarian restaurant, you're that person who has to get the salad with no cheese and no egg on it or and no meat. You're that person. You can't have bacon bits. My God.
See, I don't think I could do veganism.
No,
couldn't.
It's a terrible life.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Vegetarians have to be miserable people. You just can't be happy not being able to eat meat.
I don't know because I've never done it for any longer than like 3 days.
Then you have to be like this, grocery store, specialty grocery store type of person who's getting the specialty grocery store items. You have to be that person that everything has to cater around. That's for today's society that's easy, but I think that would be the difficulty for me. Is besides the fact that I just don't agree with just eating nothing but vegetables, which I have no problem with, believe it or not. But I don't want to be that person who has to have the thing sent back and can I change that and take that off because, it has egg in it and I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't want to be that person. Don't be that person. Eat meat. It's not for me. But anyway, we had the birthday party, man. I'm just loading up, bags of chips everywhere.
See, I could probably not do meat, but I don't know about dairy and no, I couldn't because I love sausage and bacon too much.
Yeah, just accept it, man. You can't do it, and that's okay.
I think I'm going to try it for a week and see how I feel.
You probably feel weak.
I don't think I could do it, but
I think you'd be crawling through your kitchen. You better eat like a lot of peanut butter.
You get your proteins and you get it in your nuts and you get it in your more nuts and then you have some cashews. Come
on, man. Everybody else is eating lamb chops.
I don't like lamb chops. I love gyros though. Weird, isn't it? Well, I don't like ham.
Everybody's eating their gyros. Okay. And you're eating celery. you're going to lose some your peanut butter and celery. You're going to lose some strength.
I don't think so.
You're going
I
to
don't think you would. You're going to be in tip top shape.
no. You'll probably want to die.
Look at Tom Brady.
Probably very close. Is he a vegetarian?
Almost, I think. Yeah, he's almost in.
How do you almost become a vegetarian?
I think he's pescatarian. I think he eats fish and chicken, very lean proteins.
Well, that's protein. Yeah. Well, like lean protein's fine. It's still protein. You know.
Yeah, I could. That's even hard to do. So I can't imagine the discipline it takes to be a vegetarian.
I probably need to go on one of those no carbs, but man, it's tough, man. It's so freaking hard. What I need to do is just walk, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You will hear people all day long tell you, I don't have the time. I got time.
The therapeutic value of walking, not just what it does. What it does for your brain is, I can't jog. It's just. I can run for about 100 feet and then vomit.
Do you know what my brain?
But hiking,
the therapeutic message my brain has when I walk.
What?
We should
go sit down.
Yeah, that's the message, straight from my brain to my feet. Let's take a load off. We've done enough. 30 seconds, good enough. I mean, let's face it. You're only going to need to sprint, in a short span of time. I'm not trying to win marathons or be the best at exercising, So no, I'm just, dude. But I feel it. I go up the stairs. I feel it. I carry my kids to bed. I'm about to die. Oh man, I got to do something. And I'll make a New Year's commitment. I won't stick to it. I'm on borrowed time. Now.
You have to. I read an article recently on the myth of willpower. And
that it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Everybody breaks. The only way you have to eliminate the option. So when you go to the grocery store, you can't buy any of that. You have to buy your whole grains, your fruits and your vegetables, and your lean proteins.
You just have to say, this is what I'm going to do.
This is what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I quit smoking. I think I was just tired. I think I was.
If you can quit smoking, you can certainly do this.
Well, then I started chewing.
What?
Yeah, kind of. And sometimes I'll smoke a pipe. But
now, did you go to
but I was a 2-pack a dayer.
Did you go to a monster truck event?
No, man. I just I don't really chew, but I'll dip sometimes. Well, often. That's a lie. Often. So I've just replaced one bad habit with another, but I feel like this habit's safer.
I'm talking about trying out vegetarianism and then.
Oh yeah, I did natural.
There is no end to my hypocrisy.
Yeah, they say it's the chemical.
I'll get an organic tumor.
It's the insecticides and all that give you the cancer. That's what they say, right?
I can't smoke a real cigarette now. It's gross to me. I taste it.
Does it taste weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always heard that it was the insecticide and pesticides and all that crap that they put on it, fertilizer, and that's what actually gives you the cancer. But I don't know. I'm out of that. But I can never smoke again. That's what I was telling my wife. I was like, I can't ever. I can't be one of those people that just does it when they're drunk and it'll be fine. If I do it one more time, if I do it, I'm hooked again. So I just completely eliminate cigarettes out of it. So I guess it is just making a decision.
Yeah,
willpower is more just a decision. You know what I mean?
It's a decision, and then doing the right things after the decision.
Right. And then just saying I don't have any other option. I just think I got tired of it. I felt like I smelled like smoke all the time. I felt like, I don't think you smoke as much as I did, but I was an every hour to 2 hour guy, and constantly taking breaks to go out and smoke and coming back in and being and you kind of realize over time you're one of the only people that doesn't smoke anymore, but does smoke, and you kind of start feeling like, wow, all my smoking partners have quit or moved on.
See, that's my problem. Is I kind of like that.
You kind of like being alone.
No, well, I like being alone, but I kind of like being the there's always that, like, I don't know, inner Sid Vicious or something that.
Screw everybody.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
smoke. I like that I'm the only smoker in the group.
Yeah, and
I like that I
but
can't ride in anybody's car and smoke.
I don't even, though I smoke mainly at night, so it's weird.
Well, the best part about smoking is being able to disappear after a dinner when people are talking. You can just be like, I'm out. I'm going to go outside for 20 minutes. Smokers can always disappear for like 30 minutes. And if everybody knows you smoke, they don't really even think about it. But really, you're just trying to get away from people.
Oh yeah, that's another big uh, plus being a smoker. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Carry on without me.
Oh, there you go. See? See? And then the show ends and you come back. You're like, what's up, dude?
I just go stand back there.
Yeah, just smoke from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I'm glad I don't do it anymore. I'm glad I'm over it because it's a hassle.
Oh God, now I feel like shit.
Well, it's a hassle just because of the expense of it now. I don't think I can spend what people are spending now. I couldn't do it. Like I remember cigarettes being
Christ,
like
this is so good.
Yeah. You're a very wealthy man. Hey, like I said, the world never ends. You just need plenty of coffee and cigarettes, and you can own the world with coffee and cigarettes at the end of the world.
Oh, that sounds fine with me.
You know what I mean?
I'm okay with that.
Because people are not going to care about money anymore. They're going to care about cigarettes and coffee.
I love both of them.
That's the only thing that kind of won't spoil. Anyway, something that we were kind of talking about, I was going to ask you. This is going to be a touchy one. Ellen Page, we were talking about that, changed herself to Elliot Page.
Elliot Page now, yeah.
Do you know if she's going to go through a complete sex transition surgery?
I don't know.
Because this is what I'm willing to bet you.
Yeah.
$100. $100 to any alternative lifestyle group in 2 years if she's had a sex change. Because I'm willing to bet she's not going to do a sex change.
No, I don't think she is, and she didn't announce that she was, did she?
Then what are we doing?
She's just going to be a dude, dressed like a dude.
A girl that's a dude that's dressed like a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, so I'm going to throw some things at you. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I got to do it. This is what this show is going to be about.
Putting me on the spot?
Well, just putting anybody on the spot. You can answer below after you unsubscribe and ruin our lives.
Here.
So I kind of have this feeling that the gay community would do better at separating themselves from the transsexual group. Transgenders. And here's why I think that. I understand homosexuality. No issue.
Oh.
I don't. I mean, I understand it. I understand that you like something that you like. Listen, I like women. There's no reason to think that women don't like men. I mean, we are pretty nasty, but there's no reason why if I like women that I couldn't see that other women like women too. In reverse, I don't think that it would be weird that other men like men. I don't think it's weird that some people like men and women at the same time. But I kind of think that it hurts the gay community when they adopt transgender people into their group and support them. And maybe it's just that we weren't supported, so we want to support you too. But I think that I think it gives a homosexual community a bad look, because if we decide, I think there's a problem here, and I'll get to it. I think that when you're comfortable with yourself and who you are and what you like, I got nothing but support and love for you. when you don't like who you are and you want to change everything about yourself to be something you're not because you feel like something you're not, I have a problem thinking that that is not some type of mental issue. And before, like, what, 5 years
You don't
ago?
think it's a biological one?
Yeah, I think, but like what, before everybody got mad about it 5 years ago, it was a medical, you know, uh, gender dysphoria or something like that. I mean, I had to look it up. Some of you people will know and put it in the comments, I'm sure. But we have cases of this being a mental illness through science for years and years and years and years and years. And now what we're saying is that, you know what? That's
Yeah, but they
that's
also at one point they labeled homosexuality a mental illness
sure.
in the DSM-5.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point. But I don't think that homosexuality changes who you are. I don't think you want to change your
or the DSM, whatever.
orientation. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you want to change absolutely 100% what you are, I think it's a little bit confusing. And I don't blame people for being like, I don't understand this, because I don't understand it. And here's
I think
why.
it can be confusing, but
here's why, right?
But it's really not about us, is it?
Well, I just want to say this. It's like when people go through transgender and they don't change, like, you're not having sex with people, or you're not attracted to
They're just
people.
identifying as.
You're identifying as. So why not just stay who you are? There's got to be something that is misconnected there that says I have to also look this way. And I mean, we're all victims of that. We all do that. I mean, I don't want to look the way I look sometimes. I don't want to change. I think I'm too good looking to change my face, but I would surely switch bodies with, like, Mel Torme or Brad Pitt.
Mel Torme.
I threw that out there. No, or Brad Pitt.
He's dead. You don't want to change bodies.
I don't want to change bodies. But no, like, Brad Pitt or whatever. I'd love to change bodies. I'd love to switch it up. Sure.
I'd love to change bank accounts with him.
Sure. But I just think it's odd when you want to change everything about yourself, your representation, how you look, how you come across, like everything. Like, you go through testosterone therapy and hormonal therapy, and you're changing your voice, and I don't understand why it's necessary to do that, because in reality, you don't really know. Like, if you're changing into a man, you don't really know what it's like to be a man. You don't really know physically what it's like, because you weren't gifted with the physical, not gifted, but you know what I mean? You obviously want that. So you would want that to be gifted to you. You're not gifted with that physical appearance, just like females or males who want to be female. You're not gifted with the female body to know what females really go through. So what you're doing is you're guessing that you would like to be a male or a female because of your perception of what it's like to live like that. And I find that to be a little bit troubling. Like, a gay man knows how he feels inside. He knows how his body is. He knows his pleasure points in his body, what he enjoys, what his attraction is to other men. He knows all that because it's him. He's not changing anything about being a gay man. He's a gay man. But but if he wanted to be a female, he's completely guessing on what being life as a female is like, or being in a female body is like. And I find it weird when somebody says, I feel like I'm in the wrong body. I feel like I should be a female. How do you know? You don't have a female body. You have a male body. And you don't have a male body. You have a female body. So how do you know that you're in the wrong body? And I just feel like, I feel like, I'm not saying that people should abandon the transgender community. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm sure people are going to hate the hell out of me. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't understand. Educate me. I'm telling you how I feel. Educate me on where I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. But, and I'm welcoming that. But as long as you do it kindly, which you won't. But but do you, I mean, you probably don't understand where I'm coming from, but I just don't understand when somebody says, hey, I'm already gay, which she is. We're
Right.
talking about Ellen Page. She's already gay. She obviously likes what she obviously likes what gender? Females.
Females, yeah.
Be gay. What do you want to have a penis to insert into a female? Because you don't know you don't know what that's like. You have no reference point for what that would feel like. You're completely guessing.
But then again, neither did we at one point.
But we can do it whenever anybody allows us to, the kindness of their own heart.
The kindness of their heart.
You know?
And when they take pity on us and allow us to
hey, listen. Have you ever had a girl ask you out? Honestly.
Not like not
might
actually
flirt
ask
with
me
you,
out,
but ever ask you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Me neither. I wasn't setting you up. I've never. Well, listen. There was a lot more going on a couple of years ago. I've never been asked out. Okay. So being a male isn't all what it's cracked up to be. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. The perception of what guys have going for them from a female's perspective who wants to change their gender. You don't know. So how can you possibly want to change your entire life based on something that's a complete perception because you have a deep feeling that you're in the wrong body? But
I think that's the answer. It's just that feeling.
It's that feeling, but that feeling also, people have feelings all the time that by neuroscience and through psychology and psychiatry, people will say that feeling is there's something deeper going down that's beyond all of this.
Right? Is it biological?
Right. You know, you got high suicide rates in that community. And you don't have suicide rates change that drastically when they make the change. So here's what I'm getting at.
Have we seen studies on that?
I'm afraid of what we've done is we've said this can't be a mental issue because it's too sensitive. So let's just act like it's normal and avoid the fact that it could be a mental illness, and then let these people continue to kill themselves instead of helping them, which is what we should be doing.
It's probably not. It's probably a lot more granular than that.
Again, we don't know. I especially don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So don't take me as somebody who knows anything. I'm not here trying to be anything. I'm just talking. But it's hard for me to think that. And then the perception that I have to change my reality. Like, I think she was going with it's acceptable when you refer to me. They is acceptable when you refer to me. You know, where it's doing this, where you're not doing any kind of gender.
Nothing gender specific.
Nothing. Yeah. This non-gender specific is mind blowing to me. Because you're telling me I got to change my reality for you. I got to change what I believe to be normal or right, or excuse me when I say right, what I feel to be scientifically accurate by your body parts. You're telling me I've got to change. So if you feel like you have 15 fingers on your hand and you don't, am I supposed to believe that you do? Because you believe you do. That's where all of this gets really weird. And she goes out there and she does that. I'm not going to say it's for attention. I don't know her.
I don't think it should be that complicated, though. It's just, that's what they want. Do you think it really alters your reality that drastically?
You're 100% right. But what I'm saying is, we've seen the flip outs of the guy that was in the video store, the gas station that was called ma'am or sir. And he goes and flips over everything in the store. If you do what you feel like you got to do, here's my fear for you. If you're considering this or you think, please don't take anything here as anything you could rely on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that enough. But if you're thinking about this, you know, I think you have to put yourself in the collective that you have to understand that other people aren't going to get it. And there are going to be people that never get it. They'll be sympathetic. And I think you can be anything you want to be. If you want to be a girl that's a guy, that's fine. Understand that my reality doesn't have to change for it. But I can still respect you. I want to say that. I'm going to respect you and call you if you sometimes it's confusing.
See, that's enough right there.
You know?
That's enough right there.
But I'm not gonna say they. I'm not gonna say it. To me, that is extremely disrespectful. I think it's stupid to ask for people to do that for you. That's dumb. You have lowered yourself to an it. What does that say about your self-respect? I'm an it. Call me a them or they. No, I'm not doing it.
What are you going to call them?
If I believe that it's somebody who wants to be a man, I will say, sir. If I believe it's a man who wants to be a woman, I'll say, ma'am. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is
you have a problem with the gray zone, the gray area.
I don't like the gray zone.
Yeah.
You know, listen, if you like women, be with women. If you think that in this entire 330 million people population that you can't find a group of people that are just like you, that think like you and believe things like you, you're out of your mind. You can find plenty of people, as weird as you think it is. You can find people that will agree with your stance on just about anything, no matter how wild it is. I mean, we see it all the time. There's no reason to think that you have to change yourself to be something that you don't know truly what it's like to be. Where am I wrong here?
I will be being upset about the gray area. I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. I mean, you respect their decision,
right?
And as far as mental illness, I mean,
are we missing the
they
boat?
don't they don't necessarily? I don't think they necessarily go hand in hand, like the guy tipping things over.
Not necessarily.
That probably has nothing to do with the mental illness.
We can't truly generalize. And I don't
that's what I'm saying.
Say that. We're going to talk about weird topics here. We don't want to generalize anything. We're just talking about it as a generalized statement. But we know that things aren't generalized. We do understand that, but there's no way to talk about it in specifics all the time and hit every single point. Because either you're right or you're wrong on how you feel about it. Right. And I think I worry about people that have these feelings. And because the community has said, hey, it's completely fine and normal, don't get any kind of psychological evaluation. Don't go talk to a mental health professional. Don't go do any of that. Just follow your dreams and get a penis.
Well, if there's truly
I know there's more to it.
I don't know if that has necessarily been proven a symptom of mental illness. Now, you could feel like you're trapped in the wrong body, and it has nothing. And you also have a mental illness. That those two aren't necessarily connected.
I feel like I'm trapped in the wrong body. I should be in a much better looking body than I'm in.
But is there some way I can alter my reality to make you feel better?
Are you asking me or are you saying that?
No, I'm asking you.
Why are you transgender?
No, like why?
I didn't know where we were going. I thought we were about to have
should you just prefer that people see you as a much thinner man?
No, because it's not reality. But you can do that. I have friends all the time like, you're not fat. Come on, dude. You're big bone, man. It's like, okay, I'm fat. But I mean, it's the reality of the situation. But I think let's just say this. There's probably a percentage of transgender people that genuinely 100% completely understand this is what I want, this is what I need, this. And then there's also a percentage that I do think could be looking for attention. Sorry. I do think that happens in every single situation you have. I think there are some people that have issues they haven't dealt with. I think there are people that are depressed and sad about their lives and they want to be somebody else. I think there are people that have had things happen in their past that hasn't properly been dealt with. And there may be personality wise, they're running from that. And they're convinced themselves that there's something that they're really not. I think we need to weed out before we just say, hey man, go get it done. But if you want to get it done and you've gone through those processes and you've talked to psychiatrists and you've talked to mental health professionals, especially if you feel suicidal, please do that first and foremost. Because obviously we see that it's not making that big of a difference in the community for them to do these changes and combat suicidal tendencies. So if you're going through all this, all these expenses, all these hoops, you're jumping through all these things, and it's not changing how you feel when it's done to the point where you've taken your own life, we're missing the boat somewhere. So it's just like, listen, I'm not against you. I'm just saying, I think we've almost made it too aloof when somebody does this, like Ellen Page or Elliot Page. And like I said, I'm willing to bet she never does a sex change. I'll put $100 into I'll give her 2 years. Because I think there's a part of me that thinks she's doing it for attention. I'll put it out there. I think a lot of this is attention, especially when it deals with celebrities. I'm sorry. I feel like celebrities do so much for PR. They do so much to feel like they're involved in a cause because they live in a world that's different from everybody else. And they look from their castle and they go, hey, yeah, there's a lot of issues there and I want to be a part of fighting that issue. And I think that's great. But I think sometimes it's for bullshit attention. I hope that's not the case with her because, I'd like to think that everything she's doing is genuine. And to her, she might be. But I have a hard time believing that she's going to do a sex change and completely turn into Elliot. Now, Chaz Bono, that was the real deal.
Yeah.
So I know there's real deals out there. Listen, he doesn't look anything female. He seems completely happy in that transaction. I looked him up. It's Chaz, right? Because she was Chastity before.
Yes.
Okay. Former self, Chastity. And now he's Chaz. And I think is he married now? I don't remember, but I was really like, okay, that's a legit situation where that person didn't drag it out all over the place for attention. People knew it was happening, but
you don't like half measures.
Huh?
You don't like half measures. Like if you're going to go all the way.
Go.
Yeah.
Go. I don't want you. It's like the people in the fucking those turnabouts. Go. What are we doing? You're going slow and you're stopping at
no. If you go out to Applebee's with somebody and they the server comes up,
love me some Applebee's,
and you're perusing the appetizers, you're deciding between the potato skins and the jalapeno poppers. The server arrives at the table, done. and your guest orders a half and half tea.
Just order one.
Exactly. You don't like. You're a man that doesn't like half measures, and I don't like half measures.
If you're going to do, especially something drastic, right? It's like fighting.
Like
I'm not a fighter.
Sweet tea.
Oh, who does? Listen.
Either order sweet tea or unsweet tea. You're kidding you're kidding yourself with half and half.
I lived in Ohio for a couple of years. These people never knew sweet tea. It absolutely blew my mind.
No, it's only in the South.
What are you doing? It's water. It's nasty water. You're drinking
Yeah.
unsweet, nasty. It's just nasty water. Throw like 8 cups of sugar in that. Make it work. And then when they got a Chick-fil-A, they were like, sweet tea is so good. I'm like, yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's got sugar.
Yeah,
in
that's the way God intended it to be drank. You got it right.
They put sugar in their hot tea in England, for Christ's sakes.
Oh my God, yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, I guess maybe that's it too. Especially something drastic, and especially if you're going to drag it out in public. There are people dealing with this in private. Listen, I'm very sympathetic to, believe it or not, I am sympathetic to what you're going through. And if you want to send a message and in a respectful way, talk to me about it, educate. I'm all for it. But I do think that there are people that are half-assing it for attention. And I think that's dangerous because I think there are other people that are going through it that do need to speak to somebody and thinking that, oh, well, if I just get it, there are people that are, and I want to make this point. There are people that are more embarrassed about going to seek help for suicidal thoughts than they are about getting a sex change. If you feel that way and you think, oh, the only way I'm going to be happy is to do this, that's fine. Just go talk to some people. Be a Chaz. Don't be an Ellen. I don't believe she's doing it for the right reasons. If she is and she does a sex change, but I don't see a point in being transgender and not doing any kind of sex change.
You half measures.
Right. But I mean, but you're going to be transgender in what? Be non-gender? I don't, yeah, you're right. You're 100% just nailed me. You nailed me. It's a half measure. Don't half-ass it. If you're going to go out in public and be like, I want to be a transgender male, good. Awesome. But I want to see I want to see you go be Elliot in 2 years. Because if you don't, then putting that out there and saying that stuff was just for attention. Because I don't know how you can be transgender and not change your gender.
It's a little confusing.
It's
to me
a transformation
too,
of
because
gender, transgender.
If she's they're not going to go all the way. I don't know.
Why parade around about it if you're not going to get it done? Now she may,
because
maybe I stroke a check for $100 and I'm wrong, and I'll gladly do that because then she's not. Then I'll be like, you know what, respect. I'll tip my hat. But it's hard for me to believe a celebrity does these things I think they do it out of sincerity for the moment, but I think there's a back thing in the back of their minds that they're doing it for attention. I think that's who Hollywood is.
I don't necessarily think that's true.
And but why?
Because I know a lot of actors, and there's not all of them are attention whores.
You're probably right. I generalize a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot that are, and there are a lot that are painfully. A lot of great actors are painfully shy people.
Have you ever met Ellen Page?
Yes.
Do you think she's genuine about this?
I didn't. I mean, I met her, but I don't know her. Him.
Y'all slept together.
They.
True or false?
No, we never slept together. But now this is where it becomes confusing for me.
Did you touch tongues?
No.
Did you hold hands?
No, nothing like that. I was in her vicinity, and at the time she was her, and I found her physically appealing.
Now you're gay.
And now, am I a gay man?
Right. Now you're gay. Congratulations. I think it's wonderful. Congratulations.
Well, let me restate that. She's was cute as a button.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no mistake.
I
think she's
small.
A good actress.
She's really small.
I think she's a good actress. I really do. Like, I'm not taking anything away from her talent or abilities.
And she told a friend of mine who had he had like glass blue eyes, and she came up to him and said, "You have the most beautiful eyes." And he came up to me and he's like, "Ellen Page just told me I have the most beautiful eyes." And I'm like, "She's gay." And he was so crestfallen. Poor guy.
It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
It's happened to all of us. Um, I've been told I have a nice nose. The rest of me, however, was still suspect. I love the way your ears look. Thank you.
Yeah.
You still
Oh
have your
man.
hair. Oh, thanks.
It's like when I give somebody a manuscript and they read it and they come back with everything they liked about it. You know they didn't like it.
Right. I really like the title.
I only like this part and this part. Yeah.
I like the title.
Yeah. You know they didn't like it.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I'm really off base here. It's a very sensitive world that we live in. I don't think that we have to live like that. But here's my thing. If you want me to understand you, understand me, that I may not understand the need to do what you're doing. Doesn't mean I don't respect you for doing it. But understand that if I call you a miss instead of a mister, or a mister instead of a miss, that it's not a personal attack on you.
No.
Like, we have to get into a zone of educating each other with things that we don't understand. I don't understand this.
And I think it's very important that they realize, the transgender community, that it is not an attack. And it's not meant to be disrespectful because it's happened to me. And certainly that was not the intention.
Were you ever mistaken for a transgender?
That happens almost weekly, but no, where I've it happened at Target. Unfortunately, there was a cashier
Of all places, Target.
Yeah, that was clearly transgendered, and I said, "Thank you, sir." But in my head, I was going, "Don't say sir, don't say sir, don't say sir, don't say sir." And
what was the reaction?
Nothing. I mean, it was kind of like I knew they, were kind of, put off. I didn't say sir. I said man. I said, "Thanks, man."
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Was it a very unattractive female?
No.
When you walked up, you knew it was a transgender.
Yes. Mainly
you still screwed it up. You had one job.
Because they were like 6'3".
Sometimes we'll give it away.
Yeah.
But listen, again.
And I felt horrible about the whole thing.
But why did you feel horrible? I mean, you made a mistake. It was an honest mistake. I know you. You wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it was an honest mistake. It was a totally honest mistake.
I mean, maybe you felt bad because they thought maybe you did that on purpose.
Yeah. And it's not something you can go back and really apologize for and not dig a deeper hole for yourself. It's better to take your big white and red bag and get the hell out of there.
Right. Did you get to the door and be like, I mean, ma'am?
Yeah.
No, I don't know that I've ever run into that situation. I've definitely had some weird situations. I mean, I've seen cross dressers at least out.
Yeah.
I think it hurts the gay community because I think you're ignoring the possible emotional issues there. Something that's going on maybe a little deeper. And you're saying, hey, it's cool. Just change yourself. I don't know that I agree with ever. Maybe I'm going to be of moral character here and be like, I don't think it's ever good to really, really want to change yourself. I think it's good to accept yourself. I think it's good to accept how you feel.
I think that's a very complicated.
Yeah.
I think you need to be happy with yourself, but improving yourself all the time at the same time.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Like, so you're a gay, let's say you're a lesbian. I don't hear that word very much.
But I also think in our culture, and especially Western culture, you always hear the phrase "finding yourself," and I think that's misleading philosophically. I think you need to create
You think you should
yourself.
lose yourself?
You should create yourself.
Oh, I thought you were going to say lose yourself in the moments.
You should also lose yourself in the moment while creating yourself,
Create yourself and lose
while
yourself.
improving yourself, while also being happy with yourself.
And then completely lose yourself.
If that's not a Zen Buddha thing to figure out, I don't know what is.
It's
like
very,
be in the moment, yet the moment is constantly passing.
If you're going through it, my thoughts are with you. It's just, this whole thing with Ellen Page, it just kind of made me feel like I, for one, am wrong about a lot of things. And I'm probably wrong about this. I just don't think that she'll do a sex change.
I don't think she declared that she was.
At that juncture, I'm not sure what the point is, because what have you changed other than just being a gay female who likes women, who now wants to be called it?
That's what's I think confusing to a lot of people, because she
should have just said, look,
already dressed that way anyway, and presents that way anyway.
It's all good, but I mean, just say that if I would have had a little bit more respect if she came out and said, look, I don't know what the word is for it, because I'm a 44-year-old male who has nothing better to do, but I don't want to be labeled. I don't want transgender labels. From now on, I don't want to be called Ellen. I want to be called Elliot or he or whatever. But when you say I'm a transgender, you have implicated to me that you're changing your gender. You're transforming your gender into something else.
You're in a transitory state.
Right. And if you're not going to do that, then don't do that. Don't go around telling everybody that's who you are, because it's not. You're lying. She's a liar.
Well, can we now get down to the real issues?
Let's get down to the real issue.
Vince McMahon has ruined professional wrestling. What say you?
I mean, in what way? This is great.
I'm watching. I had the TV tuned in there to the NFL, and now the NFL has somehow segued right into WWE.
Yeah, Fox is doing WWE.
First
now.
of all, we're confusing real sports with sports entertainment.
Right.
I don't care for this. These need to be separate worlds.
Let's clear this up, because this is the guys. This is the guys. We're going to get off serious stuff and get on fun stuff. All right. So you have an issue with wrestling entertainment, sports entertainment.
I have a number of issues. I don't like this weird interplay between the NFL and the WWE.
But I think that's just because Fox is now doing WWE now.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, they're going to promote, and they're going to promote to the audience. The audience is probably a lot of football.
They're trying to almost integrate them, and no, absolutely.
What do you mean they're integrating them?
Because it's coming right off of the 4:00 Fox game.
Well, yeah,
right into wrestling, and the production value is of such that it's strongly suggesting these two are connected.
They are connected through the network.
Like it's like an afternoon of sports, from the greatest game ever invented
to the greatest sports entertainment.
Yeah, but these are two separate things. I mean, but my issues here are twofold.
Okay.
I also think Vince McMahon ruined the professional wrestling that I used to love.
Okay.
Back in the 80s, when we watched Mid-South, when we watched NWA, WC, which became WCW, the WWF, Vince McMahon grew the WWF at the time, now WWE, to such Herculean proportions,
right,
that it just wiped out all the regional promoters. And
right,
he has applied a glean across wrestling that I don't care for. I find distasteful. He's made professional wrestling safe,
Well,
and that's not what it's supposed to be.
he's monopolized it.
He's monopolized it
He's
and
100%
ruined it.
monopolized it. And anyone
Yeah,
who tries to go against him fails.
yeah.
I think with wrestling, I haven't really, when I do have the WWE channel, but the
And
reason I own it is
don't
because
you find it boring now?
oh, no, I don't watch any of the stuff now. I
Yeah, it's
have
all
it. I have it because for one very specific reason. They own the whole entire catalog of NWA, WCW,
and everything.
everything. They own everything that's ever been defunct. They own the
They've
library.
become the Disney of wrestling,
Well, when they put
and they've almost
WCW out of
Disneyfied
business,
it.
when
Yeah,
they put WCW out of business, Vince McMahon says, I don't want to buy WCW. I want to buy your library. What's the value of the library? And it was a couple of million. He was like, all right, I'll strike a check. I want the library. So he bought the library of WCW all the way through NWA and Georgia Wrestling, all that stuff, because Crockett, I believe, owned it all. So he actually went in and bought the entire library. So on the WWE network, I don't watch any of the new stuff. I watch
the old
old
stuff.
Yeah. But wrestling, I think the thing that you have to understand is like everything it has its day, right? So wrestling wasn't much of anything until Hulk Hogan. Until Hulkamania came around. That was really the biggest deal in the world because then Hulk Hogan was on the cover of TV Guide. I mean,
But in retrospect, don't you find him boring?
Oh, he's terrible.
Isn't he the Garth Brooks of professional wrestling?
He very much is.
Yeah.
I mean, you only do so many atomic leg drops before you're really bored out of your mind. When you're a kid,
Even the character, the shtick was boring. I mean, when I was a kid, I liked it.
It's hard to find out. It's hard to figure out what worked with Hulk Hogan. It's really hard. We're 80s kids. We grew up in that era. It's really hard to look back and understand how it all happened because he just basically looks like a really nice motorcycle gang member. You know, I mean,
he was a heel before he was.
He's balding. He just, looking back on him now, it's nothing that's overly appealing about the guy. He wasn't great on the microphone. To me, going back and watching a lot of that old stuff, Randy Savage was 10 times the man.
And Roddy Piper.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake.
Great guy on the microphone.
When he showed up in Peanut Butter Falcon, oh my.
Isn't that great?
Oh, it was so awesome.
Yeah, we were talking about Peanut Butter Falcon. I'm glad you got to see that. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. If we can take a break we pause it. Jake the Snake.
Oh, yeah.
Jake the Snake is in Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of Peanut Butter Falcon.
Great movie.
There's no intensity. There's very little like dramatic moment. It's just a great little movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great little journey. It's a Huck Finn. It's a modern day Huck Finn to me.
It is.
And I really did enjoy it. It was such a treasure to find that movie just sitting. I think it was in Hulu. It was
and they even acknowledge that it's a modern day Huck Finn when he's in the convenience store and he asks,
excuse me,
he asks the girl, "Do you like Mark Twain?"
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Shia LaBeouf does a great job. I mean, if that dude can ever get himself straight, I mean, he's an elite actor.
Have you seen Honey Boy?
No, I haven't, but I heard it's
Honey Boy. Yeah, he plays. It's his story about growing up, and his dad had some serious issues, and they lived in a hotel.
It's a true story about him.
It's a true story, and he plays his dad.
Yeah,
it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely looking for it to watch it. But Jake the Snake is in Peanut Butter Falcon, which is a really great movie. One of those I don't know if it was underground, but I asked people and they never heard of it. And then when they see it, they always I don't know. It's kind of an adorable movie. It's a movie you end up adoring at the end of the day. There's no guns. There are, but it's no like shoot 'em ups. There's no explosions. There's nothing crazy. It's not Die Hard. It's not a romantic comedy. It's just a really cool little adventure story. It's an adventure movie, and it's just nice. But getting back to it, Jake the Snake Roberts. Um, I just think I think that wrestling. I think when the Monday Night War thing happened, I think it was a really big deal because it pumped up two different um, competitors to
Mm-hmm.
really go after each other, and it just got to the point where they were trying to outdo each other, and it got really stupid,
Mm-hmm.
and the storylines began to get really dumb and complicated,
What was
and
the thing in the late '90s when it went all?
attitude.
It just went off the rails when
Well, it
Hulk Hogan
well,
went to WCW.
yeah. Okay,
What was
so
that called?
cross pollination.
No, I forget. There was that. He started that league or whatever.
NWO.
Yeah, NWO.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Well, that
just
was
got, it was entertaining
well.
for a bit, but then it got insane.
So we're gonna do guy talk. So at that time, what had happened was Hulk Hogan had pretty much outstayed his welcome at WWF. Not for any reason. He wasn't a draw anymore. And they had moved on to the Attitude Era, and it was Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin and all that crap. And so they had a couple of major stars that went over to that WCW, and they played it perfectly. So when they had people leave WWF, some big stars leave WWF and go to the WCW, the whole game was they showed up unannounced, unwelcomed, and they were going to take over the management of WCW. They were the punk rock rebels of that group of people over there in the wrestling place. And so they came over and they did this whole thing where this NWO Wolfpack or whatever they call them came in and completely disrupted the locker room, beat up some of the guys from the WCW, and Dusty Rhodes and all these guys get beat up, and they're taking over. They're taking over. They're going to go to management. They're going to demand more money. They're going to do this stuff and do that stuff and get a big group of them. They're going to control the wrestling promotion at WCW. It was really brilliant. And that's where reality TV in a way got into wrestling, because wrestling got to start to be written as a reality show.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything wears itself out. That wore itself out, and all this stuff with the WWF wore itself out. And the WWF is still a monster, but I just don't think that they do anything that is globally as important as Hulkamania was. I think it's kind of like it's done what it's going to do, and I don't think it's going to
It's
go any
like
higher.
become like a Disney musical version of professional wrestling.
But do I think
It's very, very, very safe now.
it's very safe now? And honestly, they had a WrestleMania because I have the app, which is only like $7 a month. Because I have it and watch the old stuff, I get like the pay-per-views for free, which I've only watched one WrestleMania. And I was like, you know what? I've never watched a WrestleMania. My parents would never get it for me. We didn't even have cable until I was almost out of high school. Like there was no way I would ever have seen a WrestleMania. I was like, I get it for free. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch it. I'm 42 years old at this point. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch it. I really, really enjoyed it. It was super freaking long, but I realized like there are no muscular people wrestling. It's all like everybody's natural now. Nobody's roided out. They're not superheroes anymore. They're very average looking people. And it's like, this isn't,
It's become more like gymnastics based too.
yeah, it's a lot of flipping and stuff. Like I remember like the Hulk Hogan's, the Randy Savages, the Ultimate Warriors. I mean, these guys that were all roided out. And listen, I loved it. I wanted my wrestlers to be superheroes. I really did. I wanted to see guys that I saw in comic books. And I just think that they got away from that because of all the dangers of it, the stigmata that's behind it.
And then there was that lawsuit.
Yeah, they had that big steroid lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out that Hogan had used steroids, and of course you're losing guys left and right. I think Macho Man had a heart attack. Ultimate Warrior has a heart attack. All these people that were on steroids throughout their lives and their careers are all dead. And so I think that it was just like, okay, we've got to get away from this and we've got to go into a new era of the average wrestler, the average build wrestler. And I think that that's a huge turnoff for a lot of people. I just think that it's gone. I don't think it's coming back. I think people who watch it have probably watched it a long time and just don't know what else to really tune into. And they still find networks like Fox to broadcast their stuff. But
Yeah, that's what I was surprised. Fox putting it on prime time Sunday night.
well, I mean, it's still a draw. It still draws viewers. Um, my wife's father still watches it, and he's in his 70s. So he's been watching it from the time it was like, the beginning, and he still watches it. And I ask her all the time, I'm like, how can he watch it? Like it's changed so much. Like, he was watching it when it became the reality stuff and all that. And it's just like, how can you still be into it? I just think that there are some people that they've always watched it, they're committed to it, and it's what they're going to do. They're going to watch it. They don't care. And I think that's where they hold steady. But if you think of things like the XFL, when they try to do the NFL,
No.
it was a failure. That's because new audiences are like, no, I'm not interested in this whole wrestling thing. And even though it didn't have any wrestling involvement in it, both times they tried it twice and it failed, lost a ton of money, and lost a crap load of money.
You cannot take on the NFL.
You can't take on the NFL, but I mean, they were doing it at the right time. They were doing it when the NFL was off. I think they were doing it in the spring, and I think that they're still.
Well, the first time around was it at the same time, wasn't it?
The first time around it was, and it was completely failure. I think there's room for football in the spring. I absolutely do. I think you can do January through August football. I think it's completely fine, but I think you're going to have major capital. And you're going to have major network support.
And the USFL got as close as
anybody's
you're going to get. Yeah. I mean, they got major talent.
And, it's one of those things where I just think that when it started, everybody connected to wrestling. And that just goes to prove that new viewership for anything connected to wrestling, people turn off on it. But did I think McMahon ruined it? No, I think when it got really stupid for the reality part of it, when it was good to begin with, I'll tell you where it ruined it. They had a movie called, and you might remember, God, I can't remember.
Behind the Mat?
David Arquette in it.
Oh, Royal Rumble? Yeah.
And he won the belt in the WCW. He won the heavyweight championship. That's when it was done. That's when it was done. Because here they were doing a movie. David Arquette's in the crowd. He gets called out. He comes up there. They go face to face and all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. And they set up a match between him and somebody. I don't know who it was because I didn't watch it back then, but this is the story I've heard. Because I've actually read a book on how wrestling kind of failed because I do have an interest in old wrestling. And yeah, they let him win the heavyweight championship. And that's when it was just like, this is just the dumbest thing ever. How does David Arquette, and David Arquette has interviews where he's like, the worst thing I've ever done, I ruined wrestling. The moment that I ever agreed. No, he's serious. He's like, the moment I agreed to take the heavyweight championship, he's like, I told them over and over, this is dumb. Don't give it to me. Fans are not going to buy this. You're going to ruin everything. Please don't give it to me. And they did it. And they made him the heavyweight champion.
And it ruined his career too.
And it ruined his career. And it ruined, not that he had a great one, but he had a Stephen Baldwin type of career, right? Where, he was showing up in things.
He was big. Scream. Yeah.
And it was, Courtney Cox's husband.
Yeah.
Best role. But I just think when all that happened, everybody was like, yeah, this is stupid. This is so dumb. What are we watching for? And I think that's when a lot of people just were like, I'm done. And that was ultimately the failure of WCW and what allowed the WWF to come in and buy their life.
To buy everything out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they moved their wrestlers. Then he bought some of the wrestlers to move over to the WWF, and all of them lost. And it was like, okay, well, you're not going to build crowds. You're not going to build fandom behind people that are losing. So he kind of set them up anyway. But do I think McMahon did anything? No, No, I just think that he was such a monster that inevitably all he had to do is wait for the others to fail. And truly, WCW had Ted Turner that said, I will always, as long as I run TBS and TNT,
Then he
wrestling will
left.
always be on my channels. And the reason that he was like that was because wrestling had saved TBS, because it was just this small station, and the Braves and all that. And
Hmm.
then when he was able to get NWA and the WCW on there, it drastically upped his ratings on Saturday nights. And wrestling in many ways
Oh
brought a ton
man,
of revenue
see,
in from.
that's the golden era to me.
Yes, it is.
Is WCW in the studios in Atlanta
Yeah.
with a crowd of 50 people,
Yep. Sting versus
and
Ricky Dragon Steamboat and all that stuff. That's
oh my
amazing
God,
stuff.
the Road Warriors, the Four Horsemen, um, Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, I mean, it told great stories.
They
And
wonderful, and
the rivalries felt real.
yeah,
I mean, the Fabulous Freebirds. I mean,
oh yeah,
there were people that were great on the mic. Ric Flair. I mean, there were guys. I mean, I remember when it just, you remember this too. Like when NWA was just like this interview table where a guy would walk, where Ric Flair would be getting interviewed in front of a live crowd and call somebody out, and then from behind the crowd, behind the curtain, here comes the guy he's calling out, and they're
yeah.
having a face to face right there, and that was great stuff. And I just think that when Ted Turner sold out to Warner, and that was a big purchase. He didn't have control over TBS and TNT anymore, and because of that, Warner Brothers had no interest in wrestling. They were like, "This is dumb," and they were spending a lot of money. That WCW, they were out of control on how much money they were spending.
Yeah.
They were paying wrestlers for 150 days of work and giving them 360 days worth of pay. I mean, they made some really bad contractual decisions. Um, in fact, one of the biggest deals that they ever had was Randy Macho Man Savage's Slim Jim deal. Was probably the only thing that really brought them big money. The rest of the time, they just blew it. And when Ted Turner left and signed to Warner, Warner was like, "We don't care about wrestling," and it was just so bad by then, you know, that it just ended up failing. But I don't think that's McMahon. I think McMahon, if anything, has been really smart about how he's handled a lot of things. I mean, especially taking it public and doing a lot of that. I mean, he's a marketing merchandising genius. I mean, how many Hulkamania and Stone Cold Steve Austin shirts were sold in the
He's
80s and 90s?
marketing wise, but
He owns every wrestler's name. He owns every name of a wrestler.
he's a good businessman. But I'm not
Yeah.
sure he's a great entertainer.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that you can only do I think we've talked about this before. Boomers versus millennials, or really boomers versus Generation Xers is what we should talk about. This is a boomer who was there when it all started and probably has a very
Formulaic.
formulaic, thank you, way of how this thing should work. And he's probably one that's been on a cycle for 30 years.
Well, he's also they're so big now. There's so much risk involved. There's so much money involved that it's become like a massive corporation, and
It is.
they're afraid to do anything risky, and they have to play it safe, and that makes it boring, just like it does in music, just like it does in film.
Sure. So how much
You need everybody, just like you did in the '70s when movies exploded, in the last golden age, in the '70s with music, in the '80s with music. You need cocaine.
Yes, you need drugs, hard
You
drugs.
need drugs. It makes everything more interesting.
Okay, so in 2019, the WWE reported a record-setting $960 million in revenue. He's not doing anything wrong.
I mean, he's making
That's
money.
working.
He's making money, but that
But
doesn't improve the quality of the work,
the entertainment?
the entertainment.
No, it doesn't.
Making a huge profit is not going to lead to another golden age of wrestling.
Well, let's be honest. He's making a huge profit because he's the only real company on the block that's doing what he's doing. Right?
Well, now all the interesting stuff, and I don't watch it, but is all the really small independent.
Sure.
wrestling ventures. Well,
Sure.
Billy Corgan
He owns
owns.
the NWA now.
He's in
Yeah,
the
he bought the
NWA
name.
now.
Yeah, he
He
bought the
bought the name.
name. He bought the name and he bought all the old belts. And I've actually watched it. It's actually really entertaining. I'm at my age now, it's really hard for me to get into wrestling because I know it's so
Me
fake.
too. Yeah.
But there was a
But my
point
God,
probably.
in 1985, you could, if you were a kid my age in Atlanta, Georgia, you could watch WCW on TBS at I think it came on at 7:05 or 7:35,
Yep.
and then you could switch over to Channel 69,
Yep.
and you could watch wrestling all the way to midnight. It was a big block on 69 of Mid South and a couple of the other regional, and then you could switch
Smoky
over to
Mountain. Yep.
Smoky Mountain. Then you could switch over to WWF. I
Yeah, you
think,
could. And
and
that was a huge point where there was a lot of competition.
mhm.
And I
And you could
just,
see them like I remember Jake the Snake being in Mid South,
yeah,
and he was there with I think the fabulous was it
Muda.
Thunderbird.
Oh, Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds and the Ultimate, and I remember when the Ultimate Warrior and Sting were tag team partners.
The Blade Runners.
Yeah,
I do remember all that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
just,
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I remember when he went from Mid South to WWF.
yeah.
I think it was at the same time Jake the Snake went too.
Yeah, they had a lot of people that moved up because it was such a big deal up in WWF. They needed more talent. And it was a good time, man. It was a good time to be young, you know.
It was fun.
And
Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. And you know, we talk about it all the time, but man, we were so fortunate because we had wrestling at its height. I mean, think about all the things that we've got to do. We saw wrestling at its height, which people will laugh about that, but it was a lot of fun back then. I mean, WWF has always been cartoony, but Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. I mean, we saw Dusty Rhodes, we saw Sting, we saw Flair.
the personalities
saw-
aren't as distinct now.
Yeah, they're not. Um, we saw, the kind of music that we saw. We saw MTV. In fact, I saw somebody that put on Facebook that Beavis and Butthead weren't ruined MTV, and I was like, that's not true at all.
I don't know.
I don't understand. I don't understand how you think that Beavis and Butthead ruined MTV.
Are they coming from the viewpoint, the perspective of that's when they got out of the music, started to get out of the music video business, maybe?
Maybe, but like I said,
Because I would say
listen,
real world. If that's their working thesis, I would say real world. Really,
okay, so this is a great debate to talk about.
yeah.
So the guy says on Facebook, this is an 80s group I'm in. He says Beavis and Butthead ruined MTV. And I said, no. Beavis and Butthead helped MTV because at that time, MTV just had millions of people that would watch throughout different parts of the day. When Beavis and Butthead started, millions of people watched at the same time. And when you have everybody at the party concentrating on one thing, it's an excellent promoting opportunity. There's a lot of bands that owe their success to Beavis and Butthead.
I would agree because it was still about music. It was still about music.
It was still about music.
And the real world had nothing to do with music.
See, I disagree with that because somebody else said that, and I said I disagree because I think with the Real World, I remember I stopped watching Real World around season 8, which was 2000. I remember the first Real World, and I remember being blown away because it was the first reality show with interesting people and an interesting concept. Here's all these people from different backgrounds, and we're going to put them in the same house, and we're going to see how they coact. We're going to see how they coexist. We're going to see how they get along. We're going to see what their issues are together. And we saw one issue with a black male in the house and a white female from Alabama that had some issues over race, where they were yelling at each other. And we saw our first gay person in one of the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really an important step not because of where we are in reality TV, but I think it's important historically because it was the first reality show, and I think it brought people.
Second.
What was the first?
Cops.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, okay, fair enough. And, but I think for our audience, it was a new thing. And I think that it put a lot of awareness out there for things that maybe we were not exposed to. So I
Well, I
don't
don't
have any.
disagree. I don't
uh,
disagree with that, but I do think that's when they uh, became more focused on programming rather than music.
I think it opened the door for more reality. You're right,
Yeah.
100% there. But I don't think that I don't think real world can be discounted as nothing or a problem. I think it was very good. I think it was a good program. I think it was a staple of MTV. I think where MTV really messed up, how you don't see this when this all begins, we got older. So 1981, it launches, right? 81 or 80? Either way.
Yeah.
So throughout our entire childhood, because I'm born in 76, you're born in 74.
Four. Yeah.
All right. So throughout our young childhood, we're MTV kids. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't have cable, but that doesn't mean I didn't go to everybody else's house and watch MTV, because that's exactly what I did. I went down the street and watched MTV. I didn't care if somebody was eating breakfast or they were still asleep. I got into their house and I watched MTV until they woke up. Friends, by the way, in the summer, not just random
Just
neighbors.
broke it.
I did do that with random neighbors, but I got out before they woke up. But it was such a draw, and I think where MTV really failed is that they didn't realize that we were going to grow up, and that they had not done enough to get younger generations back into their fold. I think what they did is they said, okay, you guys like music? We'll give you music, 24-hour music. Awesome. Great. Headbangers Ball, Yo MTV Raps, everything's great. Okay, you guys are getting a little older and you're dealing with some issues. You're going through some things. So let's put some people like you on TV, and let's see what they go through, and let's see if they're going through the same things. Let's see if they have the same interest in the same things that you're going through. Oh, they are? Okay. Well, this is a hit. Let's keep going with it. And then it was like, okay, well, let's just,
Well, I think
it's
that
almost like
was
they got stuck in the reality
well.
frame,
It came down to profit,
and
and
we grew up. And
MTV
reality
was never that big of a hit viewership wise.
right. But it was important to the
It was a
viewers.
marketing tool for the record labels in
And
the
then
80s.
right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
But it became its own monster.
Yeah.
And I think we grew up. So I remember the exact moment I stopped watching MTV was right around 2000. And I try to think back, like, why did I stop watching in 2000? And then I remember September 2011, September 2000,
September 11th,
September
2001.
11th, 2001 happens. And I think we've talked about this before. We've done a show on John Lennon. And I think that every generation has something that majorly happens to them collectively that changes your outlook on your life. Whether it's Martin Luther King, whether it's John F. Kennedy, whether it's September 11th, whether it's Vietnam,
Now COVID.
COVID will absolutely change the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
I think these things happen, and all of a sudden you kind of go, I'm an adult now. My childhood is really, really behind me. Something scary has happened. I was in a vulnerable position. Because if you think about, life was pretty good up until September 11th for us. I mean, economy was rolling.
Yeah.
The presidents was, the political debates weren't even a big thing. I mean, I remember some people being upset. We live in the South, people being upset about Clinton winning, but
not to
where we are
the
now.
fever pitch it is now.
No. And I remember even back then, people not talking about who they voted for,
Yeah.
just as far back as 96. So, which seems like it's not that far away, but it was.
It was, yeah.
But, it was kind of like when September 11th happened, we all just kind of like, whoop, okay, we're adults. And I don't think you consciously do it. I don't think you go, yeah, oh, this whole thing happened. It scared me. I got to grow up and be an adult now.
It seems like the stakes got raised enormously after 9/11.
Shit got real.
The drumbeat intensified.
Yeah.
And it has not stopped.
Yeah. And you go, okay, so what am I now? Am I still this kid who, I mean, around that time, you're getting your first real job, or you're trying to, or you're, you graduate college not too long before that happens. I mean, for our generation. And you're like, oh my God. It's, I don't know that you can compare it to seeing your president shot and assassinated. I do think that it's relative to our generation. And I think MTV did a poor job of realizing, you know what? These people are grown up. We need to start moving towards the next. So what they did is they just kept trying to get us back with reality TV.
Yeah.
But by that time, reality TV had moved on to other networks. I mean, it was such a big deal on CBS. CBS was the king of reality TV. I mean, they were doing the Big Brother thing. They were doing Amazing Races. They were doing
Osbournes.
Bachelorettes.
Did they do the Osbournes?
Yeah. Well, they didn't do Osbournes, but that was on another network. But all this became the Kardashians. All this, it took off. And it was like, you don't have anything special anymore for us. And we've grown up and we've kind of moved on.
Do you think it's dying now? Mercifully.
MTV?
No, reality television.
It needs to.
Yeah.
It needs to, just because I think it's like anything, man. You have to leave. It's like the Friends. It's like the Friends versus The Office. Okay, I consider The Office the greatest TV comedy ever. Okay, that's me. My wife considers Friends to be the greatest TV comedy ever.
American?
Yeah.
You're both wrong.
Well, what do you like, Frasier?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's terrible.
No, it's not.
So it is. It absolutely is. So I tried. I can't do it. I have tried.
Man hands.
I am the
The
guy.
man hands episode.
I am the person.
JFK. Have you seen the JFK episode?
I'm sure I have.
Have you seen the
contest?
contest?
Funny. It's not funny. I think Curb Your Enthusiasm is brilliant, and I know that's the weirdest statement that somebody can make that doesn't like Seinfeld. I think Seinfeld is dated and stupid. I can't watch it. I laugh much more at Friends. I think Friends is a lot funnier. Okay,
Friends,
but
Friends bit off of Seinfeld.
Let me. We're going to debate this at some point, I'm sure. But
okay,
Friends. The brilliance of Friends is that Friends ends at the top. They decide collectively it's time to end. Everybody still wants more Friends. To this day, people want Friends. I just bought my wife a magazine about Friends with rumors of reunions, which is not going to happen. But, HBO is trying to do some kind of special. I bought it for her, and she was thrilled. They had Friends pajamas over Christmas, Black Friday, sold out at Walmart. Okay? Goes out on top. People want more. It's brilliant. And it's so hard for so many shows. You were in the entertainment industry. I can't imagine if you'd have been a writer for a show at that time, a show like Friends, and then them telling you like, okay, Wick, I think we're done. You being like, hold on.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I get it.
We realize how much money this is.
Yeah,
making.
can we let's just talk about this thing until we run it into the ground. Now, The Office, on the flip side, goes too far. It goes too long. I liked Ed. What's his name?
And The Office wasn't as big of a hit.
No, not until later.
It really
over. I think people
became bigger.
Begin to get bigger. Because I didn't watch The Office or Friends when they were on. You know why? Because I had things to do. I didn't watch any TV growing. Like once, like in the 90s, I watched zero TV. I got to be honest with you. I was too busy doing shit.
Well, let me retract my statement earlier about Seinfeld. It's still one of the top. And from, I would say, 93 to about 97, Simpsons is unmatched.
Okay. This is going to be a whole nother episode. Save that. Write that down because we're going to go back to that. But my point is with MTV is that I think that they just didn't know when to move on to something else. And I think there's a lot of credit to the brilliance of knowing when to quit while you're on top. And I just don't think MTV did that. I think they kept trying to pull everybody back in, and their audience just grew up. And it wasn't Beavis and Butthead, and it wasn't Real World. Real World definitely opened the door for the problem, but Real World for 8 years was solid. And it wasn't until like up till 2000, 2001. I think when September 11th happened, I think people just were like, I got to get serious about my life. I got to do the things that I want to do with my life, because that was really close. And I think anytime tragedy happens in a collective way with a lot of people at one time, a Kennedy assassination, a Martin Luther King assassination, September 11th, COVID, I think you have people that suddenly go, holy shit.
The real world just charged in suddenly.
Right. Real world just, the actual world just kind of got a little bit darker.
Yeah.
And I think people grow up from that quickly. And I think you'll see, I really think that this whole battle between millennials and everybody else, which is what it is, I think these people will grow up after this is done. They'll go through the COVID and they'll grow up a lot.
I think we're in for a renaissance, I hope, era culturally. I mean, we've stagnated culturally in the last 20 years.
Yeah, mentally, we're not very mature as a society. No. I mean, people can't even discuss politics. I mean,
we can't discuss politics. We're not producing any art of great value.
If you don't like what I like, then you're just a loser. And
we're reproducing.
I have to dismantle you.
I mean, there was that whole unfortunate event when Martin Scorsese said the Avengers was more like a theme park ride, and like all the Avengers children came out and just tried to like draw and quarter him in the public square. And he's perfectly, he's perfectly entitled to his opinion. He's a master filmmaker.
Place for that, though.
It's a place, and that's what he said. He's like, there's a place for it. It's more of, like a theme park ride to me. It's just not, for me.
Well, I think it's formulaic, though, right? I mean,
I'll get into film nerd stuff about the quality of the filmmaking and how it's changed, but when it dominates the marketplace to the degree that it pushes everything else out, is when it becomes problematic. But on the flip side of that, you have streaming now, which is better than television has ever been.
Yes.
I think we do tend to overlook that.
Yeah, but I think that streaming is this is the danger. I think that streaming is the beginning of what we did back in the 2000s to ruin music, which is, I think it's a lot like, downloading, where I think you're going to be so over the top, nailed in the face with so much stuff to watch, so much content.
There's too much content.
And good stuff is going to fall through the cracks. That is great material. I think we see it now. And
I think we're already seeing that.
I don't think TV knows how to handle that. Like, I've seen so many shows, so many really brilliant, unique, different shows get canceled after one season because the ratings weren't there. And it's like, hold on. You got to understand that the viewer's mind is being completely overwhelmed by options.
There is a furor amongst the Mindhunter faithful now because David Fincher has decided not to do a third season, and from my point of view, it was the best show in the last 5 years.
A lot of people say that,
and but it just didn't get enough eyeballs, and it's an expensive show to produce. So David Fincher's like, they didn't want to increase our budget. I just don't think we can do a third season. Mm-hmm. And but it also poses production issues because you have to film these shows like motion pictures, so they're very, very expensive. And And if they're not getting, if it's not getting enough viewership, they're not going to get their budgets, and you're going to lose quality programming.
On the reverse end, though, you've got shows like Walking Dead that go on forever and ever
On and on and on,
and never. You know what? I watched Walking Dead for a couple of seasons, and there was a point where I realized we're stalling out for an entire season.
Oh God, there are zombies. Oh God, they eat us.
Well,
okay, we found a safe place. Okay,
yes.
shit, the people are worse than the zombies.
Well, no.
Now we have to find another place.
You're right in some context, but this is what I'm saying. We found a safe place, and we will stay in this safe place for an entire season until the last 2 episodes. It gets really dangerous to be here, and we have to move to another safe place. Well, we'll spend another season or 2 there, and then the last 2 episodes, it'll get really dangerous, and we have to leave. It's like it drug on, and they've lost view. Like they finally have come out and said we're going to end in the next 2 seasons we're done, because they literally realize that they're sinking. Like
3 seasons ago, and like 3 seasons ago, they were saying it's going to go on forever.
Yeah, it can't. When I watched it, I told my wife we used to watch it on Sundays and everything while the kids were still little and really didn't know what was going on. So we would watch it. Now we got to be careful about that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
we would watch it, and I would tell her, I'd say, you know what? I think that they're kind of screwing me. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, I think they're just playing with me. Like they're saying, you're dumb enough that you will sit every Sunday for 20-something episodes and let us drag this out because we've convinced you that this is so good that we'll drag it on for an entire season and not move but a couple of inches. We'll move 2 feet forward and we'll step 3 feet back in this season.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do it every single season. This story, the original story, it should have been done by now. By all accounts. It should have been done a couple of seasons ago. This might have been a 5-season show.
Yeah.
And to me, now you know more about this, but it seems like if you have these writers that are writing Walking Dead and you come in and you go, okay, we start at season 1, we end in season 5, go. Then I think the writers go, okay, we've got to get this in season 1. We got to do this in season 2. We have to move this twist in season 3. We've got to have this start to build up into season 4. And then season 5, we have to knock this thing down. What they did is they said, keep making up shit and people will keep watching it and we'll keep merchandising it and we'll keep selling things and we'll keep doing all this stuff. And we'll put out games and we'll put out board games and we'll put out posters and we'll put out books. And let's just milk this thing dry. And I told somebody like 2 years ago, I said, what they're going to do is they're going to screw this great story up, which it really was a good story. The original graphic novel or whatever was really good. They're going to screw this up and they're not going to get to finish it. They're going to push it to the point where they're never going to get to finish it. It's going to get canceled because they played this game.
Yeah.
And by the time it would normally finish, they're like, we can't finish it. We'll just leave it undone.
Because now I think their viewership is less than the first season, or roughly the same.
Walking Dead. Let's see. I can tell you because I have my handy dandy phone with me. Walking Dead viewership by season. Let's say. Yep. It's almost like you ever notice like you think your phone understands your thought process. Like I typed in Walking Dead viewership and it was like by season. I'm like, yes, phone, by season. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I think that they almost like are reading my mind. Okay. That's not really what I wanted though, phone. Let's see. It's at its lowest rating. It's at its lowest rating since the first season. It pulls in just 6.8 million viewers, down from 11.4. Trying to see if it would tell me. Like, I thought like Wikipedia would give me like the per season breakdown. Okay, here we go. No, never mind. I thought it would tell me how many viewers. It usually will. I think I'm just looking in the wrong spot, but um, it only had 6 episodes the first season.
Yeah, it was a gamble.
Yeah, I think they just kind of tested the market. I was just trying to see if it would tell me per season what it did. It's I don't know why it's not. It should usually does, but it's dropped quite a bit. It's at least at half viewership now from where it was before. And that was now they're in season 10. Of course, they had issues with COVID,
Yeah.
but that's just a series that, like, now they're on the hot seat saying we have to get it done, because they pushed the game. They pushed it so hard. And I think that's why it's so important to like have a beginning and end to any show that you're doing. Because if you don't, then there's no direction.
No.
You don't know what you're building up towards.
And it's also an issue of when you're the main program generating all of the profits for one network.
That's absolutely true. I mean, before that they had Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but I don't think Breaking Bad was ever nearly as big of a hit as
It wasn't.
Walking Dead. Far better show, though.
Well, Breaking Bad understood. We have to tell this story, and we have to get it done in a certain amount of time. I'm trying to see. I don't know why everything's such a pain in the ass right now to do. I've seen how many seasons they actually did, but I want to say that Breaking Bad did 5 seasons. Yes, it did 5 seasons.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. 5 seasons. And I think it was kind of like it did all of that with a story to tell that they knew where the beginning and ending would be. And I just think that Walking Dead did a whole lot of let's just keep it going until it runs dry and then we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
And so it shows like that. I mean, they're going to end up running it right into the side of a mountain. And I guarantee you by the end of this whole thing, nobody's going to care. And then they did spinoffs. To me,
Yeah.
you do spinoffs and you do them way too early when people are oversaturated already. It's just a recipe for disaster, right?
Oh yeah, you're watering down the market.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're giving yourself more opportunity and more rope to hang yourself.
Yeah. And they do it. Shows like that do it all the time, man. And like I said, then good stuff slips through the cracks. And I just think when you're doing the streaming, like you said, I think it's a lot like Napster, where you're just like, or even where music is now, where everybody's on YouTube and everybody's putting out music on Spotify and all that. And you're like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Like the music, I don't even know where to find music I like anymore because it's just too much, And I think I'm getting that way with streaming, where I'm like, I don't even like, sometimes I just stare at my Roku screen and I'm like, I don't even know what channel to go to.
Don't even know where to begin.
I don't know
what app do I have to download to get this show.
And then if I do something and I try and I don't like it, how much time did I just waste on that?
Yeah.
Or do I need to give it more time? Like there's so many shows I watch. It's like, I was like, I'm done. And then people be like, you left way too early. You need to wait. Like and then I will give it an honest try. The Boys was like that. I don't know if you watched The Boys on Prime.
No.
But it's really good. I watched The Boys, the first episode. I was like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. I'm not watching this. And then so I was like, you got to give it more time. And so I did. And I breezed through the first season. I was like, man, this is really good. But I don't know how to make myself know that ahead of time with streaming. So my concern is that, yeah, streaming's great. But I think part of the problem is you're getting a whole season at one time, which I think is a disaster of an idea. I don't know how people think that this is a good idea. I think you almost have to do an episodic release. Now Disney does that. They got the Mandalorian out now.
Yeah, they do it by episode.
Have you watched the Mandalorian?
No, I heard it's great though.
Freaking fantastic. I mean, I'm not even a Star Wars guy, and I really like it. But anyway, it's like every Friday you wait for a release of the new episode, just like you would on TV. And it's like, okay, I can do that. And then you do, and you're like, man, I really appreciate it waiting for it. You really appreciate waiting for it because you're able to absorb the episode. And if you want to go back, if you don't want to do it Friday by Friday, you just wait until the season's done. You wait in 2 or 3 months, you go back and you binge it. If you don't like to wait. But I think that streaming is going to have to go back to almost like a TV weekly release situation to get things worked out, to give people a chance to watch something and decide whether or not they like it, because it's really overwhelming to go in and start watching something and be like, I have all of these channels, all of these opportunities to watch these apps, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going to go. And so where I end up?
YouTube.
Well, you end up like my wife's into cold cases. So we end up on Dateline. We're watching Dateline, old episodes of Dateline for hours. And it's okay because I don't have to make a choice. And it's like, okay.
You're relieved of that anxiety. Yeah.
I'm relieved of that anxiety of trying to find something and staring at the TV and wasting an hour. I'll just watch Dateline. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that like suck hole of streaming. So I do think it can be really, really dangerous too, So I don't know. I think we're headed with TV, even though we've got this extreme expanse of entertainment. I don't know that I almost need a lot of decisions made for me on TV.
Like network television used to do for you. Here's the 3 things you can watch.
At 8:00, I wouldn't put this on at 8:00 if it wasn't good. I wouldn't put this on at 9:00. I would not do this in prime time if it wasn't good. Now, sometimes I disagreed and I moved on, but for the most part, primetime shows make or break pretty easily, but with streaming, it's like Netflix. Here's the new series about what? And it gives you like a 3-sentence description. You're like, maybe. And then, I may never finish it. It's just weird. It's almost like I've got too many options. And I just miss old TV. I don't know. Maybe
that's very true.
Maybe I'm alone on that. I don't know. But wrapping up time here, Wick. We got to get out of here. Do you want to get out of here, Wick?
There was a little lag there. Now you're back.
No, I was saying we got to get out. We got to start wrapping.
What time? Oh, yeah.
We try to get done before 2 hours is up, because if we don't, next week, because we're talking about TV, remind me, I ordered the TV guide, the physical TV guide.
I'm surprised it still exists.
It does exist, and it is freaking glorious. And next week, I'm going to talk to you guys about the TV guide for a few minutes, because everybody should get the TV guide again. It has changed my TV life for the better.
I miss when the AJC used to give you the TV weekly and it dropped out of your Sunday paper.
Yeah, and you can see, but now they do 2 weeks in advance. But I'll talk about that next week, because so far I got my first issue yesterday. And I'm like, this changed my life, the TV guide. So we're going to talk about that next week. I'm sure we'll have some other just random topics to talk about. I know people are probably mad about the Ellen Page thing that watch this.
Who cares?
Throw your hate my way. Don't get on to Wick. He was trying to talk me down, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Educate me in the comments. We'll be doing this show, what we're gonna try to do this weekly or every 2 weeks, or what are we gonna do?
I think we do it weekly.
We're gonna do it weekly. We're just gonna get in here and talk about whatever we want to talk about. If you guys want to join on. If you don't, if you love us, tell a friend. If you don't, keep it to yourself. That's all we ask. If you want to hate. If you want to love. That's all we can do. We'll be back then next week with some random topics that are on our brains that we want to talk about. we go from wrestling to, well, tonight we went from transgenderism to streaming
Professional
TV,
wrestling to streaming television.
streaming television, and I'm okay with it. I love it. I thought it was fun. Wick, I had a blast, man. I hope you have a
Always.
wonderful week.
You too.
I will talk to you throughout the week. Everyone out there, I hope you have a great week as well. Be good to each other. We only have one time on this planet. Let's make it fun. Be nice. Be kind. See you later, guys. This is Sam. That's Wick. Have a great night and a great week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.